What's up everybody, Jose once again with the brand new video today, and in today's video I am going to teach you how to set your own custom white balance on your Sony ZV-1 utilizing one of the most underrated tools you can have in your camera bag, and that is an 18% gray card that has gray on one side and pure white on the other. Let's talk about it. Alright everybody, again, welcome back to the channel, and again in today's video we are going to talk about setting custom white balances on cameras, today specifically on the Sony ZV-1. So if this type of content is something you are interested in, you're thinking about picking up a camera, learning how to set custom white balances for either photography or videography, then this might be the channel for you. Do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and punch that bell icon so you'll be notified each and every time we post content to this channel. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, one of the most underrated tools that you can have in your everyday camera bag, whether it be for photography or videography, is one of these little bad boys right here. This is an 18% gray card that's collapsible and fits in a nice little case. I don't have it with me because I always have it out, but it fits this small, which is relatively small. I mean, it fits into the palm of my hand, and then when you open it up, it's almost like one of the big massive reflectors that fold down to about this big. When you open it, you get your gray card right there, and on the other side is a 100% white bouncing card as well that you can utilize. Sometimes you can use it to bounce light off, or you can also use it, as I mentioned, as setting your own custom white balance. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the few steps. It doesn't take that long, and it gives you much better results than just utilizing the default auto white balance or fumbling through and not understanding which white balance you should select from the many options, from daytime, cloudy, shadows, all that kind of stuff. And then sometimes you also have the ability to set the actual Kelvin number, but without having to memorize what Kelvin numbers do and what makes it cooler and what makes it warmer, setting it utilizing one of these gray cards takes all the guesswork out of it. And again, these things can retail for under $5 if you get them smaller, like little postcards. This one retailed for $7.99, still not that bad, super small, super compact. And this one came with the case, and you just take it with you, and again, it folds down super small, folds down to relatively nothing, and then you just put this in your bag, and every time you go out shooting, you will have custom white balance. So let's dive into the menu systems here on the Sony. Alright everybody, so this is what the back of the camera looks like. Now, Sony has kind of done an okay job with their menu systems as far as providing you with somewhat similar menu functions. So as I mentioned, Sony has done a pretty good job as far as kind of putting things in the same place. Their menus have definitely, in my opinion, come a long way. But this is what you're looking at the back of the camera. You can see the audio is picking me up right now. But what you do is you click on your menu function. And for me, this is in the first menu, option 1 up here in the corner, you can see right there. And it is in the 9th, I guess, sub menu, if you will. As you're going through each one, you can, there's 7, 6, and so forth. There's all those different features and functions on the camera. So what you can do is go to first menu, sub menu 9, and you go to white balance. And right now it's set to auto. If you click in there, then it gives you all the options that we're going to go through and show you what each one of them looks like when filming, right? Now, the way you get to custom is you see these little kind of flowers. It almost looks like the macro icon. And there's 3 different white balance functions you can set in here. And the way you go in there is you find the first one. Let's say you want to use number 1. You go to the right, and it says set. You push this middle button right here. And then the first thing it's going to ask you to do is to you're going to take a photo with this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just set any part of my gray card there. And you want to kind of get it as best as you can in the frame, right? And then all you're going to do is push this button here again. It's going to take the photo. And then you can see right there at the bottom, it's set the custom white balance for you, 5700 Kelvin. And it kind of shows you the little shift in green over here on the right-hand side. That is how you set your custom white balance functions. I personally have it also. I'm gonna go ahead and hit enter. And then if I just hit menu again, it takes me back and you can see the differences. Now what I do is I have it set up in my function menu down at the bottom because I utilize white balance a lot. So if I go in here, I can see some of the other white balances that I set. Now here's where you can also set a custom white balance. I'm gonna go in here. And this is where you're gonna see, remember the other one and the function number that it gave you. Now I'm gonna utilize the straight white side of the card. And you can see it also set it to 5700 Kelvin. Sometimes the white side of it gives a little bit warmer tint to it versus the 18% gray. But you can see right here, if I go back to function and go back to my white balance, both the gray and the white side gave me the exact same Kelvin number. Now, if you go in here, you can dial it in if you want to, but you can also see the different ones. Cloudy, you can see daylight, which is one that I like to use, especially if I forget my gray card. And then you can see auto white balance. So take a look at auto white balance versus daylight. And you'll see this in the videos, the little clips coming up of what it looks like in video. But in my opinion, auto white balance gives a huge green tint versus daylight. And then especially if you go in to the custom function that we just set, you can see that there's hardly any green to it. And you can see that this, in my opinion, is the best white balance you can get for your camera. So now let's start rolling the different clips that what shows each different white balance and what it can do to your footage. So right now we're gonna go through and show you each white balance option that you have in the Sony ZV-1 so you can see how it affects your footage, either better or for worse. So let's take a look at it right now. This is gonna be the auto white balance right here. And as you can see, the footage does look, you know, it looks okay. It looks a little flatter, doesn't look as punchy, doesn't look as crisp and clean, and it still doesn't look as natural of the face. There's a little bit of green tint, which I understand Sony does have a little bit of a greener tint to it. Occasionally we'll put that on your footage, especially if you're going to be shooting in the newer codecs like HLG 1, 2, and 3. S-Log completely flattens it out, but if you're shooting in HLG formats, your footage can sometimes have a little bit of a green tint. So this is auto white balance right now. Now we're looking at the daytime white balance feature that you have on your camera. And like I said, right now we're using the Sony ZV-1, but most cameras that have the ability for you to set your white balance will have these particular ones that are already dialed in and built into the system. So this one right now is daytime. This is the one that I use quite a bit, especially if I forget my gray card for whatever reason and I can't get a solid white piece of paper to set my custom white balance. My usual default is daytime because it's the closest I can get to naturally balancing out, and especially because most of the off-camera lights are built to give off the daytime color to your footage. So matching that with the daytime color that you're getting from your off-camera lights really complements it well. So again, this is daylight white balance features on the Sony ZV-1. Now this one is shade, which you can see, wow, it turns the footage super orangey. So again, this can be utilized outside, especially for an overcast day, or if you're shooting underneath some trees, or just overall in the shade, as it lends itself to by the name. So again, this one can sometimes rescue you, but again, it's normally going to give this type of color cast because of what it's set to be. So again, this is shade. Now this one rivals daylight because this one is cloudy, and so cloudy and daytime can sometimes rival each other and kind of can give you the same results utilizing this particular white balance feature. But again, this one is cloudy, and as you can tell, it does look pretty good. Now this one is probably the worst one that I have rarely used, if any, especially on the ZV-1. Occasionally maybe on my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, but on the Sony, rarely would I use this. This is incandescent, so it's going to give everything a harsh blue tint. But if that's maybe the style that you're going for, then by all means utilize this particular white balance feature. But this is incandescent. So now this one is the custom white balance that we set utilizing the gray card on the Sony ZV-1, and as you can tell, it does look very similar to the daylight function, but again, to me this one looks more lifelike and more real as to the scene that I was shooting and filming when I pulled out the camera. So in my opinion, this one gives the best results, and I did utilize the gray function rather than the white function on the back. So again, this is the custom white balance that you can get out of your Sony ZV-1 by utilizing this relatively inexpensive, under $10, 18% gray card that folds down, fits in your pocket, fits in any bag that you have, and can give you and deliver great results when photographing or filming using the video features on the Sony ZV-1. Let's go wrap up the video. All right, everybody. So what did you think? Is this not going to be probably the easiest way to upgrade your footage? Absolutely. And again, these things retail for under $10, which I cannot think of any accessory that you can buy right now for $10 and under that's going to severely improve the colors of your videos. It's going to allow you to start getting more manual controls over what your videos look like, and the more you can control and dial in your settings, the better your videos are going to start looking, and they're going to maintain that same style of video versus utilizing auto white balance all the time and potentially having it miss. And if you do color grading in Premiere, which we're going to touch on in later videos, having the best white balance possible on your videos is absolutely the best way to achieve the best color grading profile and the color grading sequence you can get on your footage. Best white balance is going to make it so much smoother and so much better. But that wraps up this quick video. Thank each and every one of you for stopping on by. Shout out to all 2,720 subscribers as of the recording of this video. Again, I appreciate every single one of you beautiful human beings for stopping on by, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.